What's up, guys? So I'm gonna be sharing with you my story here. Gonna be going into some detail about where I come from. And the thing is like, I come from a athletic background. So I played baseball my whole life, since I was like 3 years old. And I played up until I was about 18 years old. And I was so consumed with baseball, that was my life. And around the age of about 16 years old, that's when I started to get into working out, and I loved it. And me as a kid I was very skinny. I lacked confidence, and I would see these guys, Rich Piana, Elliot Hulse, all these dudes, Bradley Martin, killing it, just jacked, loving life, speaking motivation, positivity, and I loved it. These male role models really helped me give me a sense of direction. And I already had baseball going for me, but I felt conflicted because I was more drawn to the fitness industry. I was more drawn to these individuals, and I wanted to be more like them than Derek Jeter. You know, like I was conflicted. You know, here I was playing baseball since I'm 3 years old. This is all I know, but I'm, watching video after video of these guys, and I just love how they operate. And as time went on, I was just kind of stuffing it down, like, oh, I don't need to do that. And kept doing my thing. I was around 16 years old, 17 years old. And when I was around 17, this is when, scouts, stuff like that are looking at you. And I was losing my fire. I was a shortstop, batted over 500 in high school. Like, I was known as the baseball kid. And I was just like, whatever. Like, I didn't really care, because the reality is I wasn't living my truth anymore. And I started to get more and more depressed, putting a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself because I have these college scouts looking at me. And I was like, where do I go? Like, do I keep playing baseball, or do I go into this avenue here? Like, how sick would that be? Being an influencer and helping other people, find themselves and tap into their confidence. And I was like, I don't know, man. And I felt guilty because I couldn't speak up. I couldn't speak up to my dad. I couldn't speak up to my family, like, say, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm out. It wasn't that easy, because when you play, for those athletes out there, when you play a sport from, a very young age, your whole life, more than a decade, like, you have an identity wrapped around that sport, around that activity. It's part of who you are. You see yourself as that individual. And I saw myself as a baseball player, but at the same time, I was conflicted with this other life I wanted to live, this other life that I was drawn to. And so I just kept working out in my basement, just kept working out, going to my baseball games, doing what I got to do with baseball. But my performance with baseball was starting to decline around the time too that scouts were looking at me. So that's pretty, it's pretty important shit. So started just building confidence, because I didn't want to stop working out. I had to keep working out because it felt so good. That's where I found myself. That's where I found my confidence, because my body started to change. I started to just get, the veins popping out and this and that. And I was like, I love this. Like, this is making me feel whole. Even when I'm not in the gym, I'm thinking about being in the gym. I'm thinking about bettering myself, because I never experienced that before. In baseball, specifically as a shortstop, you have to be calm, relaxed. You can't be aggressive. You could be aggressive, but it has to be controlled. You have to be quick. You have to be loose. You have to be agile. In the weight room, it's a bit different. You have to be more, explosive, aggressive, intense. And it's kind of, especially as a shortstop, you can't really be that way, because you got to be quick. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, my body started to change. And then as time went on, I actually ended up trying out for my college team, St. Joe's and Patchogue. And dude, I bombed the tryout. I completely bombed it. Like, I did so bad. I was slow, sluggish. You could tell that I did not have the fire anymore. And I got cut, didn't make the team. And then what ended up happening was I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting that. I was expecting to keep on going, play a little bit in college and, see how far I can go with it. And I've never gotten cut before. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually pretty crazy. So now I was proposed with a decision. I could keep practicing and getting better and get my spark back with baseball if I still had it, or just make my exit, make my way out and stop playing. And I actually said, you know what? Thank you, God, because this is actually a sign of relief. When I first got cut, I felt shocked, but I also felt a little sign of relief. As in like, wow, this is my opportunity to actually do what I've been wanting to do. And so I made a decision. I went to my dad and I said, look, I'm really grateful for all that you've done for me and coaching me and everything, and I can't see myself doing this anymore. And I gotta be honest with you guys, he took it very well. And for so long, I wrapped up in my mind that he wouldn't take it well. And it was pretty crazy because it was like this, it was such a small thing that I was just magnifying in my own mind. And it was like, I could have done this years ago. When I was first getting this feeling, I could have just openly spoke about it, and I never did. I never did. I did to my older brother at the time, and he was encouraging me, just do what you gotta do, it's up to you. But it's like, I made it to be such a big thing, going to my dad and saying, look, I don't want to play anymore. It was just like this moment where when I said it to him, it was fine. And it was almost like this huge weight was just lifted off my shoulders. And that was a lesson that I learned. And it's just like, we magnify problems so much in our minds that it could just paralyze us from taking any action. Meanwhile, if we just did the thing that we've been thinking about, not only would we not have to stress about it anymore, but that problem, that contemplation around that event that we think is so huge is actually quite small. We just make it larger than it is in our own minds. And that's why, guys, the lesson is just don't make things bigger than they are. Take it for what it is. Like, see it for what it is. It is the way it is. It's supposed to happen the way it's happening. So don't personally identify with the problem, with the stress that you're going through, no matter where it's coming from. Just see it for what it is. Take a step back. Remain detached from that problem and just say, okay, that's happening. Here's the solution over here. Let's do it. Instead of just getting so fixated on the problem as to what it is you're going through, just take a step back and say, this is the solution. Had I done that years ago, I wouldn't have prolonged this internal anxious feeling that I've had for years. And it only got worse. Because the reality of it, guys, is you can lie. You can lie to everybody. You can't lie to yourself. You can't. You're the only one that knows the truth. And we only have one life. So you want to make it a life that you love to live, that is worth living to you, to nobody fucking else, only you. And when you pour into you, you can give more to the people around you. And it's a funny feeling because I realized after I told my dad, it was like this weight was lifted off my shoulders. I went back into the gym, started to get my personal training cert, started doing my online coaching, and dude, I was the happiest I've ever been in my life. And then what happened was, because that weight was lifted off my shoulders, I began to give myself more to my family. I was more willing to talk with them about things, because when I was playing baseball, I would just kind of come home from my game and just kind of give them a quick little rundown and then split, like I didn't really have that like genuine feeling, because I felt like I was living a lie. I felt like I was just pretending to be someone I wasn't. I go from playing this sport my whole life to seeking a different path, but ignoring it. And, I was conflicted. But then once I made that switch, dude, everything changed. I started to step into my best self, you know? And that's the thing, you guys, is you got to be honest. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's required to live a fulfilled life. If you want to live a life of pure mastery with yourself and be able to control your own emotions and be able to look at yourself in the mirror and love who you are through and through, you have to be honest about where you're at. And that's all there is to it, man. So that's my rant. That's my story. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope this was valuable for you guys. And just be honest, man. Just be honest with yourself first. And then you can step away from the stress, the problems that you're facing, remain detached, and just make the correct decision at that point in time. But you can't do that if you're living a lie and you're just so wrapped up in your problems. So, hope this helps.